Edge 9 oggi incontra Lara Lodini di Lenovo per un importante annuncio legato alla Formula 1. Allora, oggi, nel momento in cui andrà online questo video, Lenovo annuncia un cambio importante nel rapporto con Formula 1. Ci puoi raccontare cosa sta succedendo?
Assolutamente, con enorme piacere. Oggi annunciamo finalmente un importante cambiamento nella partnership con Formula 1, partnership che abbiamo da 3 anni, e diventiamo ufficialmente global partner. Quindi raggiungiamo il gradino più alto della partnership con Formula 1.
Che è un milestone davvero importante, complimenti.
Grazie.
E allora cerchiamo di spiegare ai nostri utenti che cosa significa essere un partner tecnologico oggi e domani un global partner per Formula 1.
Ha un significato estremamente importante per una società come Lenovo, come hai giustamente detto tu, è un milestone. Credo che le caratteristiche principali che hanno portato a questa collaborazione iniziate 3 anni fa siano le stesse che convalideremo anche nel prossimo periodo. Significa lavorare insieme ogni singolo giorno, creare un'unica squadra di lavoro, confrontarsi su quelle che sono le vere necessità, definire gli obiettivi comuni e lavorare insieme per raggiungerli. Nello specifico, quello che abbiamo fatto in questi primi 3 anni di partnership è stato supportare Formula 1 nel raggiungere delle prestazioni mai raggiunte prima in pista, nel migliorare tutto l'aspetto delle operation e essere ancora più innovativi, perché loro, così come noi, abbiamo al centro del nostro mondo il cliente e quindi loro vogliono dare la possibilità al loro fan, da qualsiasi parte del mondo si trovi, di essere sempre più vicino a questo sport, di esserne sempre più parte e possibilmente vedere anche il dietro le quinte.
Ed è interessante il concetto di dietro le quinte, perché mi sembra che proprio l'elemento vincente di Lenovo è un po' di sparire da un punto di vista tecnologico, cioè di nascondere la complessità e di permettere a Formula 1 di offrire sempre nuovi servizi e sempre nuovi modi di sfruttare la tecnologia.
Sì, è assolutamente vero. Noi con Formula 1 lavoriamo e siamo presenti sia in pista con la nostra tecnologia, le nostre soluzioni, ma siamo anche a casa, a Biggin Hill, in Inghilterra, vicino Londra. In che modo siamo presenti? Con tutti i nostri prodotti, dai portatili ai desktop, ai tablet, con i telefoni Motorola, ci sono i server, ci sono gli edge server. Noi lavoriamo dietro le quinte, cerchiamo di garantire il massimo delle prestazioni al nostro partner, cerchiamo di ridurre i tempi per analizzare, per prendere delle decisioni e cerchiamo anche di aiutarli in quello che viene chiamato archiviazione, così che loro possano usufruire di tantissimi contenuti in un minor tempo possibile e metterli a disposizione a tutte le persone nel mondo che vogliono seguire la Formula 1.
Tantissimi dati, un po' per concludere questa nostra chiacchierata. Raccontavi prima del fatto che la quantità di dati che è impressionante. Ci puoi dare qualche numero, perché poi rimangono impressi?
Quasi 500 tera a weekend è la quantità dei dati che Formula 1 trasferisce dal circuito a Biggin Hill. La Formula 1 attraversa 5 continenti in 9 mesi, produce quasi 400 ore di coverage televisivo e quasi 200 ore durante la stagione di contenuti post-prodotti. Questo è quello che genera la Formula 1 e è dove noi riusciamo a supportarli.
Perfetto, grazie mille.
Grazie a te, a presto.
Dopo aver parlato con Lara Lodini di Lenovo, adesso parliamo con Pizza Mara, che è la persona responsabile della tecnologia per la Formula 1, per tutto quello che riguarda il broadcast. So, one of the things that Lara talked about was that you centralized in Biggin Hill all the post-production and the managing of the broadcast and all the video production that is done on the field, but then it's centralized there. Can you tell us what brought us to this decision and how the work is organized right now?
Okay, sure. At Formula One, we had this view from a long time, actually. How do we become a more sustainable broadcast operation? it's wider than broadcast, but for sure, our operation, the traveling that we have to do, the amount of logistics we need, the amount of equipment we have at the track is huge, right? So our vision was always to go strategically. How do we separate acquisition, so sensors, from the processing and publishing? During the COVID years, we really used that as a stimulator to accelerate our strategy. So we had tested connectivity, luckily, probably 6 months before, and the connectivity was getting to that point where we could utilize it and be happy that we could perform with a remote operations. So we, in 3 months, did a project that we had planned for 3 years. Challenging, but part of we like to take challenges on Formula 1 do, and that allowed us to go actually really take a big step in our sustainability drive. So at the track we now have acquisition, so we have cameras, antennas, receivers, acquiring all that content, video, audio, data, coming into our event technology center, which is our kind of hub at the track, which is compressing, decompressing, sending all our signals back to the UK, around the world, in a redundant way. And then in the UK, we have a media technology center. So it's a state-of-the-art broadcast facility with a data center inside it, which is allowing us to produce the world feed that you see. So if you imagine the world feed that you watch in any country now, which is produced by Formula 1, 90% of the footage you probably see is from Formula 1, is produced in Biggin Hill, in our media technology center in the UK.
Well, before, just to be clear for our users, all the post-production and the broadcast production was done right on the track. And the team that is now in Biggin Hill was traveling with the camera guys, right?
Yes, exactly. And I think just to really make that very clear, live production was what was driving the output from the track. And that team is no longer traveling to the track. So, a post-production was always at a track, and elements did it in the UK. But we've expanded that massively. So I think it gave us a huge lift in our ability to access content all the time, available for us editors for different channels. So I think it's not just been transformational from a sustainability point of view and our logistics footprint, but also transformational for the ability for our content teams for different channels to acquire that, access that content in the UK.
Perfect. And you mentioned connectivity and how it was enabler for this transition to happen. What kind of connectivity do you use? And you were also mentioning before in our little talk we had that you had 2 major milestones. One in 2020, when you first start doing live production from Biggin Hill, and then in 2022, when you did let's say a cleanup of the whole system. And what was the role of Lenovo in the 2022 cleanup?
Yeah, so I think cleanup's a great word, actually. So, in 2020, we decided to take this big leap to be remote. And also COVID was making us want to make a change for the amount of people who were traveling around the world. But what we had to effectively did, people had to work the same way they would do at a track, but just did it in the UK. When we did our refresh, and we built this facility in the same location in 2022, Lenovo's role in that was to help us really transform our data center. So our data center in the building, in our operation, is built on platform thinking. So platform thinking means to a basic non-technical person, every operator would have had a server, a machine that's servicing their needs. And platform thinking allowed us to have consolidation, simplification, reduce the amount of power you're using so that people are using resources in a sensible way when they need those resources. So Lenovo's role in that was pretty transformational. We were really happy to have them on board in 2022 to help in that journey. And actually, if you go to the Media Technology Center in the UK, Formula 1's Media Technology Center, and you see the data center, it's not full. The whole point of it is it's not full. Cool. It's consolidation. So actually, the vision is to have less equipment and then more. But that's all about technology, and Lenovo's pushing that for us was huge.
And just to wrap it up, we are a technology website. 2 things that were very interesting was you actually you still have a technical center at the track that collects the data, and you actually build your own fiber network in each single track. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think from the basis of, and I think mentioned earlier on, we have to be a reliable, robust solution. Every week, 2 weeks. We have 24 events in 9 months across 5 continents. So that track infrastructure for us is we have our own fiber, we have our own cameras, we have our own antennas. We install that every 2 weeks. And that content gets onto our fiber ring around the track, which is our fiber, which is 65 kilometers of fiber, roughly, give or take. And that content comes into our event technical center, which is a hub, you know, and that hub does that consolidation, etc. And we have some people that are operating last line of defense kind of solutions. So if we have problems in connectivity, we can still produce our applications, which is, you know, not just a broadcast, it's the timing system for Formula One and also the telemetry system for Formula One. That's really core to us. But that consolidation, the content from sensors around the track onto fiber into our event technical center, and then it transfers back to the UK. You know, pretty, you know, big pipes, 2 10-gig pipes that are routed diversely around the world, carrying about 500 terabytes of information over a race weekend.
Wow. And to wrap it up, you have this big announcement of Lenovo becoming an official partner of Formula One. Can you just give us a couple of words from you that are a technical person and what it means going forward in terms of innovation?
Yeah, you see the smile on my face got bigger when you said that. So I think for us, and as a technical leader and being part of that relationship from the beginning, we've seen how our relationship's grown from just being great partners to have that straight off, honest conversation about things that we think are good, and they go, oh, you know, maybe you should go left a bit or go right a bit. You know, to have that conversation, it's not about sales, it's about innovation for us, and that DNA of having that relationship and the growth of that relationship and Lenovo moving to a global partner, it's fantastic for us. I think you'll see much more innovation from us. We're in a great stride in our relationship. And we're leveraging their technology, you know, across our whole business. So I think if you look at our business, it needs a Lenovo. It needs someone that has that portfolio of equipment, but also their drive to have the best technology, whether it's a server, some hardware, edge compute, whatever it is. We know we can trust them on giving us some great options. So I think it's fantastic. When the IT team can just pick the phone up and go, can you help me with this problem? It's a great place to be.
Perfect. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.